This is the season to consider death. Beyond my window, the leaves hang desperately disfigured and discolored. They fall one by one like dreams of the living. The summer no longer holds dominion here. Dusk breaks the back of day like snapping twigs, and twilight rushes headlong to black, and with the black comes the fear. It's not so hard to imagine something unreal lurking in these ink-blotted shadows, something dangerous or depraved lingering ever a few steps away, something monstrous. The autumn air is soporific, commanding a deeper slumber, a sleep infused with dreams that have the weight of a body, a corpse perhaps, and in these dreams, like a scared child, I am pursued by entities I can't define, and no matter how fast I run, I can't escape. I scratch and I claw and I scream, but I can't escape my monster. My monster is after me, always after me, but more, much more than this, my monster is in me. And it's just this sort of capital M monster that perhaps most singularly defines the horror genre, and John McNaughton's 1986 film Henry, Portrait of the Serial Killer is no exception. The main character, played by John Rooker and based on real-life serial killer Henry Lee Lucas, is without question one such capital M monster. But he is, after all, human, comprised of mere flesh and bone, and so this raises the question, what is it exactly that constitutes monster? Is a monster a being that poses a threat of danger and harm? Well, the villains in just about all other film genres threaten danger and harm, but they're not called monsters, at least not in the same way as horror monsters are called such. So what makes horror monsters different? The question's been analyzed exhaustively by many film books, and one I recommend and from which I used as reference for the following analysis is Peter Hastings' The Horror Film, truly worth the purchase of any horror enthusiast. But in any event, the consensus among horror film theorists is that horror monsters are creatures that transgress or undermine our categorizations of nature. They breach the boundaries of our defining order of the world. For instance, we have our monsters that are dead, but are also alive in zombies, vampires, and Frankenstein. We have animals that are more than animal in the werewolf or the fly or the shark in Jaws. We have houses that are, by our categorization, inanimate, but have somehow become alive, haunted. So in other words, that capital M monster defies our understanding of the world, and the implication of this is that our imposed order can, with just a slight mishap or aberration in nature, be reduced to chaos, that we are unsafe. And more terrifying than this perhaps is how quickly by the same slight mishap or aberration of nature we can become the monstrous. And the slightest and subtlest of all modifications transfiguring human into monster is represented in the modern day serial killer, a serial killer just like the one in McNaughton's devastating film. In fact, in my opinion, there is no monster that can be committed to film more terrifying than the serial killer. Certainly none are so relevant to our contemporary times, where even the dullest of us understand the rudiments of psychology. Indeed, the serial killer's deformity, his transgression of nature's order, is not in the burned skin and razor blade fingers of a Kruger or the mask and brute force of a Jason or a Michael, but in his mind. We have a monster who looks just like us, just like our neighbors or teachers or gas attendants, but who have within them some terrible deformity that obliterates the natural categorical order of human, because our definition of human includes empathy, and so, therefore, we do not slaughter other humans. The psychological deformity in Henry is not easily ascertained. Maybe it's impossible to ascertain, because it is not seen in the same way a giant tomato or a dinosaur or an alien being's deformity is seen. The serial killer's deformity is infuriatingly immeasurable. And this ineffability is precisely what makes it so terrifying. For what is preventing the serial killer deformity occurring in us and our children? How can we defend against such deformity if we don't know what it is, let alone what causes it? The answer is nothing. There is nothing we can do, so we stare at our serial killer monsters with undying fascination, fascinated by what they can do, fascinated that we cannot ascertain the reason why they're doing it, and mostly, we're fascinated that we hold within us, every one of us, the horrifying potential to become such a monstrous deformity. The videotape scene in Henry is probably the most horrifying scene I've ever witnessed on film. Not only are the monsters callously murdering an innocent family chosen at random, but they videotape the killing, and, just like us, in the film they are watching the moving picture recording of the murders with unbound fascination. I was so affected by this scene, in fact, that it served as a major inspiration for a screenplay that I wrote and which I'm determined to one day film. In the interview on the Henry Blu-ray, McNaughton explains that he came of age in the 60s and 70s and that he was heavily influenced by the giants who elevated the medium from movies to art form. He cites filmmakers like Fellini and Bergman and Truffaut and Kurosawa and Godard, aka the most important filmmakers in the history of cinema. It is owed to them, therefore, that Henry stands apart from the brain-dead monotony of other serial killer films because, to paraphrase McNaughton, he attempted to infuse genre film with art film. So instead of the idiot repetition of a Friday the 13th or Halloween, what we have instead is a character study in which each and every killing is used to serve a narrative purpose, and so therefore is not mind-numbingly gratuitous. The killings are plot points on our journey into the blackest of human souls, a descent that doesn't stop until we arrive at the point at which we can go no further because we realize finally that the abyss of the human soul has no bottom. What's more, and this is a spoiler of sorts, McNaughton offers us no reassurance that nature's order has been restored by the proper authorities or divine hand of fate. Instead, the monster simply continues to exist, and we are left on a roadside with the body of the girl that the monster once loved, abandoned with our fractured world order, left to come to terms with our fear and our perverse fascination with it. Some of the more die-hard listeners of The Cutting Room will recognize some of the above thoughts I'm toying with, and some of you will remember how exhausted with them we all became. But for my part, my palate has been cleansed since leaving the Horror Palace a year or so ago, and immersing myself back in the macabre these past few weeks has been a riveting and life-affirming experience. Yes, life-affirming because there are very few more effective ways to feel alive than by pushing the fear button. I realize that I love this time of year, and I love horror, and I'm going to linger around here for a while longer, probably till the more reputable holidays roll around. Until then, happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween, Joe.
Thanks, Tom. Happy Halloween to you too, pal.
Happy Halloween, Billy.
Happy Halloween, Tom.
Thank you. Max, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, Tom.
Joe, you're moved by this picture.
I really do like it, man, and I like it. I always like films that I always like doubly when I watch them for the show, man, because I just get so much more out of them after like really taking a close look at it. And yeah, definitely, man.
Well,
how are you feeling about it?
Oh, I really thought when I went back to watch this movie, I thought that it was gonna really scare the hell out of me. For some reason, I just remember it being, my first viewing of it, which is probably about 15 years ago. I was really disturbed by it, and not to say that I wasn't disturbed by it a second time. It was disturbing. Don't get me wrong, and it's very well crafted. But I get this sense when I'm watching this picture that it's almost meant to play better and to feel better watching it on VHS for some reason. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense to
Did you see this in the theater?
No. I watched it on videotape.
Okay.
When like probably when I was maybe like 19 or 20. I mean, it was a while, about 20 years ago.
Oh, you mean VHS as opposed to Blu-ray or DVD?
Yeah, watching it on a theater screen or on a HD screen. When I'm watching this film, I'm like, I think that like they're like the realness and the creepiness and the darkness might play better on VHS and not on such a screen of quality.
I know what you mean. I do really like watching it in high definition, but I do know what you mean. There's a quality to the film that is.
Yeah, I wonder if it was. I wonder if that was something that he intended, because you're talking about a film that was made in the mid '80s during the peak almost of, or not the peak, but really, I mean, the beginning of that video rental boom, where people are watching a lot of movies in their homes. I mean, he had to know that this wasn't gonna, be huge in the theater. As a matter of fact, I think it was shelved for like 3 years. I don't think it even got released until like 1989. And I wonder if that played in McNaughton's head that he wanted to make a movie that played better in the home than in the theater. Now, look, I could be completely wrong, but it was just a thought that I had while I was watching this
Well,
movie.
I don't know about that per se, but I do know that part of what makes the film so effective is ironically, the lack of budget. And it's something we've talked about, when we were on the Horror Palace a lot,
Right.
is that horror films are almost the only film genre that are enhanced by a gritty, lo-fi, low production value, because
The best are.
it feels so immediate. So I think that, there is something on that feels like that's exploitation, and there's something genuine and real about a horror film when it's a low budget like this one is, and maybe it's even enhanced further when it's on a shitty VHS transfer.
Now horror movies have huge, beyond huge budgets.
Oh, I've been watching a lot of horror movies. It's the first time I've really been focusing on horror movies in a long time.
Right.
And some of these movies are so friggin' slick, man. It's incredible how clean and slick they are.
Well, here's the thing with McNaughton and Henry. I think that he steps out of this convention where every horror film, every killer is of some kind of some kind of supernatural being, and he creates this human character that's like loosely based on Henry Lee Lucas, but he makes it this Henry character is human. He's human, and that's different, and nobody was really doing that at this point.
It's one of the first serial killer movies, aside from like this. It's hard to say. Look, all horror films are serial killing movies in one sense or another. But
they are.
This is like I shouldn't say all, but I mean a lot of them, and certainly in the 80s. But this is one of the first ones that was built around like an actual serial killer. Like it predated Silence of the Lambs, and that's kind of movie.
Right. Hey, Max, this is a movie you picked. You're obviously, I'm willing to bet that you're a huge fan of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Talk to me about it, dude.
I'm a little unsettled by how many times I've seen it, but I think it's the best serial killer movie ever made.
Okay.
And I just finished John Walsh's Tears of Rage, which is a book about him losing his son Adam Walsh to Adam Walsh disappeared in a Sears, and I learned that Otis Toole, played by Tom Towles in Henry, was the serial killer who abducted Adam.
Is that right?
Get out of town.
Yeah, and that was a real rough revelation for me, because I knew that he had done a lot of horrible things, and I knew in real life the real Otis and Henry had killed a lot of people together, and they made a real party out of it. But once it got down to the kid, I was really unsettled by it.
Well,
I got to tell you something. When they get to the point, obviously, where they're filming the rape and killing of the family, that was just that's some of the most horrifying stuff you'll ever see.
That it was one. I think that might be the most horrifying scene I've ever seen on film. Well, you listen, it's one of them. It's terrible, man.
Yeah, I can't even. Ugh. Billy, first time watching this movie, or have you seen this before?
No, first time.
And
I did think it was kind of a masterpiece. And listen, I mean, this movie has been lurking in the background for ever. And yet I can be aware of movies and I choose not to find out too much about them, so that when I see them, I just come in kind of fresh. And it's really amazing, man. I mean, I don't really like the serial killer genre film by any stretch of the
Yeah, I know.
imagination, and it's just great because it plays so straight and factual, and I just felt that it was. I think that people sort of romanticize the concept of murder in movies a lot. And this movie is like, for me, one of the best scenes in the movie is, or the best passages is where Henry sort of slowly makes Otis comfortable with the idea of murdering people. And I always think that it's probably, we talked about this a bit with the Manson thing, but I think probably a lot of people, it's not that hard to get you to cross over that line, and he, when they pull off to the side of the road and they kill that guy who stops to help them and then move on, I was like, that's pretty much how it goes. Like, if it's in you to kill someone or to want to kill someone, that's probably how it goes. It's not very romantic. There's no thrill. It's just like, that felt really good. Let's go get a beer, and that's the most frightening part of it, I guess.
It's incredibly easy.
Well, because in any, like, I'm obsessed with listening to homicide detectives tell stories about the cases they work, and it's amazing to listen to those guys because they're people who deal with sort of basically cleaning. I don't know how homicide detectives don't go insane. You have to have a really particular psyche to do that job, and to hear them tell stories with the darkest humor and the most pragmatism about the nature of the human animal is amazing. And every single one of them will tell you all those crimes are very mundane. There's like, it's intense to think about, but basically murder is a very mundane thing, and that's that this movie captures it sort of perfectly for my money.
I definitely hear what you're saying.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
How has it taken so long for a guy like Billy to see Henry? I don't get it.
It's like asking me why did he avoid Harmony Korine for such a long time?
I mean, what are you watching, Billy, that you avoided Henry this long?
I think he's doing two things. One,
I was watching The Grapes of Wrath that whole time. Actually.
One, he's watching reruns of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
He's a Trekkie.
He is a Trekkie, yes, Max. I don't
Listen,
know.
Listen, you guys.
Billy can only answer that question.
Billy, answer the question.
Yes, sir. I was sniffing library books.
Enigmatic answer. Here's the thing. Do you guys feel like I do that horror is a catharsis in so many ways? Because you guys turned your back on horror when you left the Horror Palace Network and wanted to do a legitimate movie review show.
We pissed on his girlfriend.
We turned our hair.
What is that?
For me, I watch a film like I Spit on Your Grave 2, and I say to myself, yes, this is what it's about. This is about a beautiful woman who, albeit she's pretty stupid, and gets herself in a pretty bad situation. Okay? And some shit goes down, and terrible, unmentionable things happen to her. But what happens? Eventually, in a very unrealistic way, darkness fills her, and a vengeance fills her. And she responds in a way that is so unbelievably cathartic that I am pissing out of all of my holes. And I just wonder, why isn't this genre more respected? I know it's respected in box office, etc., but this really is the ultimate cinematic form for people to let out their shit. Fellas, what do you think?
Well, there are certainly films made in this genre that are like Billy said, like he found this to be a near masterpiece. I mean, I
would say this is the greatest. This may be the greatest grindhouse style exploitation film ever, because this is the whole point of exploitation. Is to do something on a low budget that no one gives a shit about and get away with it because you don't have a bunch of people standing to lose money looking over your shoulder. So, and here's the thing. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, I can see every little point that Joe took from this to to do the project that he wants to do. Like, I see it exactly, and it's the whole point of exploitation. You know, when you have, what did this movie cost? It was $100,000. Yeah, 100 grand, and it made 600,000 what in the first week or something like that. So you just made $500,000. But if you invest $10 million or $25 million or $50 million, well, then there's a whole bunch of people who are going to have an opinion on what you should and shouldn't be making. So to me, it's the whole point of drive-in movies and all of that, you know. And accidentally, a piece of art squirts through every now and then.
Not very often.
Can I answer Max's question from before?
I got a good idea, Joe. Just answer his question.
I'm sorry, Tom. All right, listen.
In class.
I'm holding up my hand. I've been holding up my hand for 10 minutes. I've had my hand raised for 10 minutes, Tom, and you haven't called me. Listen, I agree with you wholly, Max, and I've been thinking the same thing, man. It's such an outlet for any pent-up aggression and rage and fantasy and all this stuff. Almost nothing does it better than horror, except for porno does it more efficiently, but nothing does it better than horror. But the thing is that after you keep watching horror movies over and over and over again, you become desensitized to it, and then you reduce its power to do those things. So it's almost like a favor to yourself to go and look at other movies and, you know, find different ways to, or, you know, find different good qualities about film, different needs that you need from drama, and then go back, and then it's all the more powerful, you know. And that's why you get to look, even the conversation, it's almost like we kept having the same fucking conversation over there at that horror palace, you know. And it's like, it's so much better to walk away from it for a while. And all these films I've been watching, I've probably watched 10 horror movies in the past 2 weeks, and I've been just loving it. But right now I feel my threshold's being like reached, and I'm about to...
Case in point, Joe. Case in point, the Maniac remake with Bilbo Baggins. Frodo Baggins, rather. Elijah Wood as a serial killer. Exhausting. I didn't make it halfway through. You know, every time there's a new horror film, and I am obsessive on Netflix. New arrivals. Click. New arrivals in horror. Boner. And it's all shit. It's all shit.
Well, let me ask you this, because this is a very practical example. Have you seen Silent House? The film Silent House with the chick.
Is that based on a video game?
No. It's the chick, the Olsen chick, and they shoot it all in one take, or it's supposed to be one take.
I don't think so. Why?
All right, I was going to ask you how you felt about it, because I'm sure that if I had been watching horror films for like 6 months straight, I'd probably think that movie was a piece of shit. But I watched it the other night, and I thought it was, hey, listen, it's not a great film, but I thought that like 3/4 of it were really good. Yeah, like I thought the first 2/3 of it.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. But I'm just saying, like, if I had been watching horror movies for like over and over for 6 months, I probably would have been like my eyes glazed over and been bored. You know what I mean?
Joe, Billy, did we really watch horror movies for 9 months straight?
You know what? Fuck all of you, because none of you understood the power of the horror film.
That's not
you
fair.
guys.
I totally disagree with that. I completely disagree with that.
Fair.
No, that's totally wrong. I have a love for horror film that is ridiculous, but and it's very ceremonial too. It has a lot to do. It's no mistake that Halloween is October 31st. This is shit that goes deep down in the human animal. The summer is over, the winter's dying. You feel your body getting colder and contracting, and you feel something about the life cycle that is haunting and scary. And I want nothing more than to lock the windows and watch the wind blow outside and see the leaves falling and watch something terrible happen on my TV screen. You know, like, that is the best feeling in the world. I can't do that 12 months out of the year, though.
Neither could I. Max, you do it. Obviously.
I'm reveling in what Billy just said. Hey guys, let me ask you. have you seen? How dedicated are you? Have you seen Henry II, Mask of Sanity?
Okay, it's funny Max asked that question because I had no idea that film existed until this afternoon when I was doing some research on Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. No idea that this movie existed, nor did I know that McNaughton wanted to continue this story. I mean, this is a story. He had a treatment to continue this story, to make a sequel to this story, where I think it was going to be about him moving on to another town, getting comfortable, getting relaxed, making a mistake, and getting caught. And he wanted to make a movie about how media comes into play with these serial killers and how the serial killer reacts to the media reacts to the serial killer, and how the public perceives all this. This is a movie that McNaughton wanted to make instead.
Oh, I'm so glad he didn't make it because that idea sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Well, that was the premise for Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers, yeah. Which
Thank you.
Even that treatment, I think, which I think Tarantino's treatment was more of a cat and mouse thriller between a detective trying to understand what he was chasing after. Oliver Stone turned that into what it became.
Oh, gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean, there's some validity there, man. I mean, the Manson thing has a lot to do with the interaction of death and media, as Billy pointed out in his review.
But that doesn't sound like an interesting film to you, Max. What McNaughton had in mind?
No, not at all.
So tell me about
serial killers are not that self-aware.
Yeah, that's
and it's
probably
not,
right.
It's not
You're
that
probably
much
true about that.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I want to know something. When we did the Dahmer show, episode 3 of The Cutting Room on the Horror Palace Network, I asked you guys, do you want to kill? I want an update. Have you ever thought, when's the last time you thought about killing somebody, Joe? The fellow parent. You have to go to the fucking PTA meeting. And
it's the same thing, man. I'm gonna give you the same answer, man. There's like brief, and I will pat myself on the back and say I was the only one who answered that. Honestly, initially, everybody did say that agree here, and I think it's the same thing. It was that there are flashes of it, man, that come through my head, But like okay, well today,
murderous thoughts.
Oh, Jesus.
Murderous thoughts with Max Cook.
Well, look, I was thinking today, I was sitting by myself today. I work by myself so that I have a lot of time fucking to think. So today I'm sitting there, I'm drinking a cup of tea, I'm looking out the window. Yeah, the leaves are falling. I haven't been out of my house in probably a week because, like I said, I freaking, work. I work aside from taking a trip to Long Island, so I'm by myself a lot. I have a lot of time to think. So I'm looking out my window and I'm thinking of something that was embarrassing to me, and so I think right away I said it aloud. I'm gonna kill myself. Fucking crazy, but I don't mean it because I stopped myself right away. But
you thought you were gonna kill yourself.
I didn't think I was gonna kill myself. I said
suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, that one.
I have those daily, dude.
Yeah, but it's just like a flash. Oh, that was so embarrassing. I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
And what saves you, Joe? Your children, right?
Oh no, I'm just not. I don't. I don't think it's my children per se. It doesn't get to the point where I'm justifying it one way or another. It's a flash, So,
Tom, do you ever think about killing yourself?
I had one time. I did, yeah. There was one day, maybe about 8 years ago. I was really down in the dumps. I was going through a really bad time in my life, and there was an afternoon for about an hour or two where I thought about going down to the train tracks and laying there.
Oh,
yeah,
that.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, but it passed. I mean, it passed, and I'm glad that I'm strong enough not to act out on.
Something tells me Billy has never thought about it.
No, I don't think that.
Not in a long, long time.
Why is that? Are you into yourself?
Billy, is it true that the last time you thought about killing yourself was during the Deliverance review?
No, the last time I thought about killing someone else was during the Deliverance review.
It's so funny. Even after all that Deliverance review shit, I still just love Billy, and I have never met him. And I was a little bummed out because you said you came to El Segundo, and I couldn't really tell if that was an invitation or not, but we never hooked up. I think we would have had a good time.
I wasn't in El Segundo.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was in... Where's El Segundo? Isn't that in L.A.?
Are you kidding me right now?
No.
I think he's getting you confused with Ash Hamilton.
Maybe. Are you mixing your medications over there, Max?
Hey guys, I can't do this show anymore because I just can't. Pat?
Hold on.
Talk with some dudes.
Hold on. Billy said when being asked the question, he said, "I haven't in a long time." Now, a long time ago, did you have these? These thoughts occasionally, or did they haunt you for a while, or was it just a one-time thing? I mean, you obviously had thought about it at one point, Billy.
I had a rough couple years, yeah, several years, I would say, and it was touch and go for a pretty long time. So, yeah, but I mean,
so you were haunted.
Yeah,
you were haunted with these thoughts at one point in your life. Wow.
I would say, I would say that it depression followed me around pretty hardcore for a while. But at the same time, I was always sort of keenly aware that. I've had friends who have had real depression and actually tried to kill themselves, and I always was pretty good at measuring my level against other people's level, and I knew that I didn't have too much to complain about.
You know, these people who are depressed, I mean, what could be more depressing to a depressed person than an unsuccessful suicide? I mean,
well, it was always like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sympathetic to various forms of suffering, but I'm also I always try to be kind of pragmatic about it. And a lot of time, look, I started jogging to prevent depression, right? Because it was pretty obvious that if you at least raised your endorphin levels to the point that you were functional, then you could think your way out of a depressive problem, So yeah, I've been damnably boringly successful at sort of managing it over the years. So, and the times that I couldn't manage it was because of excess alcohol or bad choices or any number of things that I was just, very stupidly making a tricky situation worse. So,
you seem like you've been really good, really in good spirits since you've been going with Sandra. Has your relationship with her been really helpful to you?
I would say the inverse, actually. I would say that I have thus far, knock on wood, been able to manage a relationship because just insights that I had when I sort of had reached rock bottom. Mm. So, I would say sort of the inverse a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's really the same boring, stupid shit that you'll pay thousands and thousands of dollars to a therapist to tell you, but you really do have to figure out yourself, and you have to be really brutally honest about who you are and how you function, and then make your decisions based off of that. Mm-hmm. So really boring shit.
So you have been in therapy.
I very, very long time ago, when I was in my early 20s, and I gave up on both of them because I was smarter than both of them.
That's gonna be.
Max, so I was like, "What the fuck am I paying you for?"
Yeah.
Within sessions, I had psychoanalyzed my therapist better than
Billy.
They psychoanalyzed.
What was your? Yeah. I hate to do this to you, but what was your childhood like?
No, I don't like the smell of poop, Max.
No, seriously, man. Sorry. Were you a guy who was alone? Did you have friends? Did you have toys?
Where are you going with this?
Just answer the fucking question. When you were growing up, did you have toys? Did you have friends? What were you living in an imaginary world?
I had a pretty good childhood. A lot of brothers and sisters. not.
Are you
too
still
many
close with them?
things was there. Yeah, really close. Really pretty strong.
Now I know
family
you have a
overall.
sister in Florida. Is she the
I-
one
all
you're
my-
closest to?
I'm one of 5 kids, or one of 6 kids.
Oh my God! Is there a
Yeah,
competition factor?
No.
Do your
not really.
parents listen to the show?
No, not that
Max
I'm
is
aware of.
fishing for something. I don't.
Max, I know. That's where I'm like, where are you
I
going with it?
know. Look,
are
I
you
know
fishing
what
for
he's
something
fishing. I know
dramatic?
exactly what Max is fishing for, but I don't know that Billy's comfortable talking about stuff on the show, and it's not my place. I don't know, Billy.
Look at here he is.
Who are you? What are you, his bodyguard?
What
Well,
is
I don't
your
wanna
dad?
You can- Joe is just
Oh,
Joe's just
oh,
a kid with
Joe.
his hand up in the back of the
Come
classroom.
He's not a big enough.
I got this. I got
No
this.
questions.
Max, here, listen what he's doing right now for Billy. And before on the last segment, think about the attack he threw my way.
See, you're so wrong because I'm trying to give you what you're looking for, Max. You guys are misreading this so much.
James Brown would perform, and then all of a sudden he would kneel down, and some dude would come out on stage with a American flag blanket and put it over James. That's what you're doing with
That's
Billy.
not what I'm doing. You guys are totally misreading it. You're totally misreading. All right,
You
forget.
are protecting your friend.
No, that's not what I was doing.
You can handle this?
I'm trying. You guys are totally misreading it
What are
No.
you doing then?
How are we misreading it?
because you're. Listen, all right, forget it. You're right. That's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Bail out now. What is with you two?
Listen,
What is the
Can
relationship?
we get back to this Deliverance review already?
Is the relationship between you two? Okay. Is Billy? Listen, is Joe the sycophant and Billy is the leader? What's going on here? Billy, do you respect Joe as
Billy's
much
the
as
leader. There's no doubt in my mind he's the leader, Max.
What is the mystique about Billy, Joe? Why are you so sycophantic with him?
That's really funny that they read it that way.
I know. I know they're so misreading everything.
Max, listen, we're
Look,
Bay. We're
tell
like
you, listen, I know Billy very well. I've been very close friends with Billy for a long time. We've learned a lot of stuff. We've collaborated on a lot of films, so we know a lot about. We basically went, like I said on your show, Max and Mimosa. We basically put ourselves through like a personal film school together. You know, we've talked about films exhaustively, and we formed a lot of similar ideas and opinions. That's not to say that we don't disagree about stuff, as we did a lot on the Spanish movie, the Mexican movie show, but yeah, I know a lot about Billy. So when you came out and said that I was trying to protect him, what I was trying to do is get to what you were trying to get to, which is what caused what's going on with Billy's childhood. And I was unsure if he's.
Yeah, but Joe, you cock blocked my interrogation.
No, you're misreading it again, because I was trying to get to it, and then all of a sudden you jumped down my throat like I was trying to protect him. Where I
think what Joe was trying to shortcut a little bit by saying, we're look, Max, we know where you're going with this. Why don't you just get there?
Yeah, you were fishing around for stuff, and I could have just got there very easily. That's what I was trying.
And the joke that Joe is making is, yeah, you can get there, Max, but I'm not sure Billy's actually going to talk about it.
Yes.
Now Billy is talking for Joe. Do you hear this, Tom?
I hear it.
Billy is
I'm
writing
listening to
dialogue for Joe. They have a symbiotic relationship.
But hold on, Joe was writing dialogue for me a second ago, and now I'm writing it for him. That's perfectly okay. Friends do that with each other all the
Never
time.
allowed to truly understand this friendship, this relationship, this podcast. Oh, geez,
This what?
podcast collaboration.
Podcast collaboration.
It's Joe and Bill.
Max is definitely mixing his medications tonight.
God damn it, guys! I love you guys. Tom, I tried.
Listen, Joe.
Yeah.
Have you watched any other John McNaughton movies?
I did. I tried to watch Girls in Prison? Yeah, Girls in Prison, 1994. And
Did you see Normal Life?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen Wild Things?
Was it good? No. Have you seen those?
I like Wild Things a lot. Billy, have you seen Wild Things?
Yes, a very long time ago on cable TV.
And you didn't.
Dog and Glory.
And I made sure to keep checking over my shoulder. Wild Things is well, he got into the whole sort of sleazy thing.
Yeah.
His normal life was a great Ashley Judd tits, and then Wild Things was great. What's her face? Denise Richard tits,
Right.
Yeah, he definitely got into the whole Cinemax style. of
Yeah,
filming.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did. He kind
Billy,
of.
I have a question. Billy,
Go.
when you and Bill Shetty did your little spin-off show, were you happy?
Yeah, that wasn't a. Hold on there. I take exception with that. That wasn't a spin-off show. That was Bill Shetty's show that he normally did before he invited us onto his network.
It wasn't like the Jeffersons, you know.
Were you happy doing that show?
In relation to like the horror, like watching horror films all the time.
The show that we're doing, were you happy?
Oh, no, I had a very, very specific reason for doing Bill Shetty's show, and it was having a very positive impact. I think Joe's probably talked about this on the show.
We're not talking about Joe!
When you spend all your time by yourself writing things and creating things, you sort of lose objectivity on yourself, and it really helped me to get outside of my own head and see how my thoughts worked in an actual discussion like that. So I was really enjoying that on the cutting room, and I wanted to continue that.
What was
in some
the
capacity.
pitch from Bill when he came to you? I can tell things went south with you and Max on the cutting room goal. What was the pitch to get you to do his fucking show on camera? With your vest and your fangs and your hot ass hair, what was your angle, Billy?
You like my hair, Max?
I do.
Oh, Jesus.
I loved you on that show. But my point is, why did you do that? Because you still wanted to communicate your thoughts, correct?
Well, that was part of it, and it was also I don't know, man. It's hard to explain, but it just really helped air out my brain. You know, like it felt really good.
What did you need to air out, though, Billy?
Yeah, you're watching shitty ass movies. I mean, the movie we reviewed, I don't even remember. It was horrible. I know, wasn't it? Terror Troop.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah.
Terror
Trap.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That was
the first movie ever reviewed on the cutting room, by the way.
Yeah.
For our listeners,
which I brought up on the Grizzly Zone, by the way.
Oh, you gave us a plug, Billy.
A little bit. I was always pretty kind to you guys. I didn't have any hard feelings in that regard.
Billy, what is your daily life? You're an artist, but how do you make a living? Is it graphic art? I mean, how do you survive?
I'm gonna table that discussion.
No,
I don't
table
like
anything. How do you survive? You have this hot ass girlfriend. You're doing this show, but are you doing anything else? I mean, how are you surviving?
I live off the royalties from the Cutting Room podcast.
How are you surviving in New York this day and age? It's getting colder out there. How are you surviving?
You're right. I'm hoping to have enough money to turn the heat on this year because last winter was pretty tough. I am a graphic designer type of person. Yes, I
are
do.
You
design
a freelancer?
I am.
And clients keep coming back to you.
Yes.
Now,
yes,
why is Joe laughing?
Max, your line of questioning, it's like watching Perry Mason on acid.
With an eye patch.
I'm gonna stop caring.
Yeah, Max, I'm trying to figure out where you're going with it. That's what like.
Why do you have to figure out
the line of childhood questioning I understood, but the modern line of questioning, I'm not sure where it's going.
Max, have you ever considered being a lawyer? Because you'd be definitely a good prosecutor.
He would make an excellent TV lawyer.
I think that's an insult somehow.
Max, the highest compliment I can pay you is that once I was writing a screenplay and I was having trouble with the worst time I was having with this one character, and as soon as I thought of him speaking in your voice, it was instant problem solving, and I wrote the rest of the character in your voice. That is the highest compliment that I can pay you.
Oh, What did you do with that screenplay?
I got about 3/4 of the way through, and it sort of stalled out. And I'm gonna try to resurrect it, but maybe not as a movie.
As a novel?
Probably a comic book series,
Oh,
actually.
wow. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Well,
Yeah.
this dude can draw, right, Tom?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I've maybe, very little of his stuff. He did some artwork for Atavist Falls that I was blown away by. You know, and this was just something I think he scribbled up quickly.
Oh, Max, did you see those?
Oh, yes.
That was fun.
And it was very impressive. He's a very impressive dude, Max.
I know. That's why I'm asking him so many questions.
And he's smarter than you.
And he's a big pain in the ass because he won't answer them, and he's
I've answered every question
No,
you
you
asked.
haven't.
Max.
You've derailed and deflected.
What have I derailed and deflected? I answered every single question you asked. Joe derailed and deflected.
All right. William,
Yes, sir.
what is the most painful experience you've ever been through?
Ooh. I think that's kind of relative. I would say the first major breakup I had with a serious girlfriend knocked me for a loop for a couple years, actually.
That is luck. You didn't say my mom died. You didn't say something personal about you, like a health issue.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you've had a very charmed life. Is it fair to say?
I would say, yeah, I would absolutely say that.
I wish nothing ill upon you.
So
I don't want to
Billy
experience-
wasn't like beaten between the ages of 7
No!
and 13.
He didn't have a Terry Hobbs, Tom.
No.
No.
He had a daddy who broke out Nosferatu on 6mm.
Lucky.
I don't know what that means.
Well, listen, gentlemen, I am almost certain at this point that there's no going back to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
There's a baseball game to be watched somewhere around here, isn't there?
is.
Hey, Tom, can I just say that Michael Rooker, this was his star-making performance that lasted for years until he really worked again. But I have a Michael Rooker story real quick.
Yeah,
I was at a mall, and it's great because this is perfect for the Halloween show. But I was at the Burbank Media Center Mall. It must have been, 2000, right before 9/11, 2000. And I was with my wife, and we were at the Burbank Mall, and it was a weeknight, and we were walking through, and Halloween was happening. And Michael Rooker was walking through the mall, dressed like Henry, with the black shoes and the white socks and the dark blue pants and the beige jacket. And guess what he was drinking?
PBR.
I wish! A carton of milk with a straw in it. And I said to myself, oh,
God.
fuck, it's Henry. And my wife had no idea what I was talking about.
Wow. Do you know that he locked himself in a closet 2 hours a day to prepare for the role of Henry?
Is that right?
Yeah.
He apparently stayed in character.
Yeah.
off
Yeah, somebody
set and
was,
everything.
yes.
He's pretty amazing in this movie. We didn't discuss enough what an awesome performance. Actually, what good performances he and the other guy give. in
And
this movie.
casting, how great the freaking casting was. I
Really
mean, it's
good.
just
Really good.
perfect, man.
And you're right about
Yeah.
Rooker. I mean, I know that, this movie, it was done in 86 and it didn't really get released until 89, but he would use parts of this film, to get other roles. And one guy that noticed him was John Sayles, and he put him in one of the greatest baseball. Funny you just mentioned baseball. One of
That's
the
right, 8 Men
greatest
Out.
baseball movies ever made, and that's 8 Men Out, which is
Yeah.
a fantastic. Even I think Max could enjoy that, even though he's not a sports guy. But John Sayles, gentleman, is a terrific filmmaker, and he totally cast Rooker based on stuff that he saw him doing in Henry, which is amazing. But as we all know, Rooker wound up, going on to bigger things. He was in Tony Scott's Days of Thunder, and then he starred with Sylvester Stallone in Cliffhanger, which is a guilty pleasure of mine, by the way.
Billy? Billy?
So, yes, sir.
What is your favorite sexual position?
I don't have an answer for that.
Doggy.
The
Doggy. You love looking down. You love looking down at that little tan poop hole. So sweet. Winking at you. So sweet. Little girly butthole. You like that, right?
Not when it comes from your voice saying that.
No, as a matter of fact.
Under other circumstances, I might be able to get into it. But now I'm gonna have your voice in my head when I think about that. And if it was, it is just turned into my least favorite position.
Joe, when you and your wife are having sex,
oh god,
do your kids hear you, or do you have to keep quiet? Because little mummy might hear you.
Little mummy.
Hey, man.
Little mummy's bigger than I am, man.
Cockwise?
No, Jesus Christ, Max.
Stop, Max.
He just said little mummy's bigger than he is. Oh, you're not talking about size. Sorry, Joe.
Jesus, Max. But Joe, 3 times I've tried to take this, back into some movie talk, and Max
I'm convinced nobody's listening anymore anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, we're just entertaining ourselves, so as long as we're having the time.
Hey, guys, can I say something about Henry? And this is a spoiler. If you haven't seen Henry, don't listen. But dudes, at the end, the suitcase. A woman's body is not in that suitcase. I thought that was really weak.
She's a little woman.
Oh wait, you're saying it's impossible. No, that actually reminded me of a case that freaked me out that I read about earlier this year or last year. This guy in Florida was a serial killer. Had this method where he would check into hotels. And he had this suitcase, and it was like a wheeled suitcase, like with the rollers and the handle and everything, right? And he would go to these rooms, and he would kill the girl, chop her up, and stuff her in the suitcase, and then walk right out the lobby. And they could not figure out where these girls were going until they started reviewing the security camera, and they were like, "There's no way there's a human body in that." And sure enough, he was able to do that. It's fucking sickening.
So there you go. Your question's answered. The prosecution rests.
Yo, gentlemen, before we say goodnight to everyone,
this really was like a Halloween episode with Max all over the friggin' planet.
Sorry.
It was just like the Horror Palace. No, nothing to be sorry about.
No, nothing. No way. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Horror Palace, they would say how much they hate me.
Yeah.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
You got flack over there?
They hated me over there.
You think that's true, Joe?
No. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, your haters.
Yeah, who cares?
Max, are we talking about Pace for just a couple of minutes before we say goodnight?
What the fuck is going on with Dave Pace? This guy has bailed on the cutting room. And I know he has some brain struggles, but what the fuck is going on with this dude?
Did you see his blog? Did you see the blog that he put up?
He sends me links to the blog, and I read it, and I try to understand, but I don't know what's going on.
I can't understand it either, really.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't.
It's above my. What's the word? Joe, you're deciphering something. Your interpretation. No, that's not it. What's the word, Billy?
Intellect.
Yeah.
Analysis.
Yes.
It's above your analytical capacity.
Correct.
Listen, Max, I am with you on this. I don't understand anything he's talking about. Honestly, what is going on?
See, now I feel like we need to give him a plug. Fuck.
Plug his blog, but
I'm trying to find it. I can't. I'm trying to find it.
So he turned his back on us, man.
Oh man, listen. This isn't a gang. It's not the
turned
mafia.
Back.
Look, he got all embroiled in that spider baby thing, and then he got into this. He got into the big war with the Fangoria people, right? And then so now he's got a blog that's basically exposing the
Fangoria people all the power. He's giving away all of his power as a voice, as a writer. Why is he doing this?
Oh, I can't speak for why he's doing his things, but he's got a blog now that's basically exposing the wrongdoings of what's going on over Fangoria. And the
he should not listen. He was on this show. Offered him an opportunity for, twice a week to not only
people loved him. Tom,
they did. I know he was really. Listen, we've had people try to come on the show and become a part of the group, and we've had Ash Hamilton, we've had Jenna Payne, and both are great people, but they Ash kind of fit in, Jenna she didn't last very long, but Dave fit in as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he got it. His intros were A+. He was insane.
I'll never forget his intro to Gummo.
It's classic. It's one of the best ever on this show. One of the very best ever. And it's unfortunate that he's not in a place in his own mind where he could just concentrate on doing something that he's just really good at. And that's one, writing about movies, and two, talking about movies.
Yeah, well, he's got this thing. He's got this thing with Fangoria, and he put up this whole blog dedicated to basically exposing what's wrong about what's going on over there. And so this Chris Alexander, who I guess is the editor or something over there, he started a whole Facebook page, basically called why Dave Pace sucks or something like that. He's got so much anxiety going on. I mean, it's insane the amount of vitriol that's being spewed back and forth.
If you're listening, it's time to put Fangoria in the fucking past.
Yeah, man.
It's time to get a fucking grip and come back and enjoy your times with us and talk about movies. Stop with the Fangoria.
Stop it already.
Yeah.
Stop it!
Enough is enough.
That's insane.
I mean, it's ridiculous, Dave. You're wasting energy. You're a creative guy.
Yes.
You've got bigger fish to fry.
Absolutely. Hey,
why would you spend your energy on someone who doesn't want you anymore instead of people who want you?
We want you, Dave.
We want you, Dave, and you're out of your mind. And you tell me, oh, no, I can't. You can.
But Tom, you have to admit the last thing we want to do is get caught up in the middle of that Fangoria.
That's what I was about to say. Right?
Yeah,
he really did us a favor.
Yeah, to be fair,
it's a fuck about Quentin Tarantino's girlfriend.
Yeah, it's not about that though, even
though.
anymore.
Yeah,
like it's there's all kinds of things going on.
Stop it.
He turned the the spider baby thing into like why
spider baby.
Yeah.
I was exhausted from it.
How were you exhausted?
He wasn't even on the show.
What are you talking about?
Max is our number one listener. He's the biggest fan.
Listen. I haven't heard the Spick Show, but I listen.
Oh, jeez, Max. Take it easy. On that note, I can't end the show like that, Joe. Please, somebody say something else. Somebody, please. Say something.
Oh, well, I was going to say, man, is that the last thing you see Dave doing the blog thing, and then you see Fangoria's editor responding in kind on Facebook, and every fucking sycophant, we want to talk about sycophant, every sycophant who wants to have their terrible horror movie covered in Fangoria is on there.
They're the worst, those people.
Teaming up with teaming up on Dave to backing up this Chris Alexander, like because they want to get in. They're ingratiating themselves, trying to get into Fangoria's favor. They either want to write for them or they want.
Who cares? Who has energy?
Dude,
Dave, you need to come more. Dave, you need to come more.
Poor Dave.
Yeah. So all that being said, he did do us a favor because Jesus Christ, Tom, I would be pulling my fucking hair out if I had to be monitoring the friggin' internet boards to see what kind of bullshit what every fucking troll on earth is friggin' saying about it or
Hey,
whatever.
listen, I think they. Well, who knows? I mean, after all this had happened recently, you're right, Joe. I mean, it might have came back and.
Of course, dude. If we kept covering it and gave Dave
gave him a platform,
gave him the open mic to do whatever, and we did. Listen, Dave, we love you, man, and we want you back on the show for sure.
Yes.
But we do not. I mean, the last thing I fucking need is to be dealing with that shit.
I know. Well, hopefully he'll come back next season. Joe.
Look, if we were getting paid, it's great theater, right? To be sure, it's great theater, Tom. But listen, man. You got to minimize your headaches, and that's basically the message that we need to tell David. You got to minimize it. I mean, look, what he should do is look at take some cues from Hunter S. Thompson, David Foster Wallace, whoever the fuck he's reading, and he should write a giant piece about it. Try to get it published in the most reputable publication, and then Max, you're absolutely right. You got to move on, dude. It's gonna fucking tear you.
I think that's the number one.
All this Dave does is emulate Hunter. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's got a thing.
And I love Mexicans. My first ever girlfriend was Mexican.
You had a Mexican girlfriend?
Oh yes.
What was her
name? Ana Maria. I'm not gonna give her last name, but Ana Maria. And I was imported to a Mexican school, Pacoima Junior High, and all the white kids were being shipped out to the white kids schools, and I was imported into the Mexican school, and I love the Mexicans. And I had guys flicking their little what do you call it, Joe? What's that thing with the knife with the
butterfly knife?
Switchblade.
He keeps asking you, Joe. Now I think he's trying to get you to speak for him because he's jealous.
Yeah, one of those greasy-haired, sleazy, Joe. You know what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
And they would flick out the switchblade, and I would do comedy, and they would put the switch. Oh, do you hear that? Anyway.
Mixing his medications.
Something's going on over there in Maxland tonight.
All right,
for sure. He's
we're
very
gonna-
excited.
We're gonna,
A bottle of pills, a bottle of Prosecco. Let's see
we're
what
gonna
happens.
end tonight's show, man. Hey, thanks a lot, guys, and hey, it's always a pleasure to get on here and talk to you guys about film. Happy Halloween to everyone, Max. Halloween, baby, it's your show.
I was married on a Halloween. What are your guys' traditions?
Oh, happy anniversary, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Your chick is awesome, man.
Oh God, I love her so much.
She's really fucking cool.
Wow.
The whole Halloween-y thing and the gothy sort of she's cool.
If you could see her anus.
Send me
Nicola
pictures.
May?
It's so sweet and pink and little. It's little, guys. She doesn't have
bleach. Does she bleach?
No, she doesn't have to.
How tall is your wife, Max?
She's about 5'3". Oof. And I'm looking at her ass and her legs.
Does she wax? Does she wax?
She's 5'3". She's 5'3".
Yeah.
So she's taller than you.
What do you make? Nope.
Does she wax, Max? Does she wax?
Well, she doesn't wax per se, but she shaves. Oh, that sweet little tang. Sweet little labia. God, don't you love labias? I don't like blown out labias, though. I like withdrawn labias.
If the sound of Max Cook saying those things doesn't haunt you, it's Halloween
Finally,
night, then
we
I don't
have
know
something
what.
haunting on this show tonight. All right, people. Hey, listeners, only 2 more episodes left after this before we take a little break and come back after the new year. So enjoy it while it lasts.
Break! Yeah, hey guys, I'm only good for 2 more. I need a break. You don't even edit the show anymore.
The Cutting Room Movie Podcast is brought to you by Christiana Productions Limited. The show is edited and co-produced by Joseph Schreck and produced by Thomas Detloff and Joe Christiana.
I did edit the last show, Max.
You can follow us on Facebook at The Cutting Room Fan
I worked
Page.
very hard on this show,
My
Max. so
cousin
please
in
stop.
it.
You can like us on Facebook at The Cutting Room Fan Page and follow me on Twitter,
I'm
Thomas
very burnt
Detloff.
out. I'm very burnt out. From
Will
all
you
this.
guys knock it off?
Oh my god, I fucking hate Twitter. I don't get it. I don't know how to do it. I suck. Every time I post a tweet, I lose 3 people.
How?
Because I suck!
Max, you have to listen to the Three Amigos episode because I believe it's on that one. Joe does an impression of you doing an impression of him,
Really?
and it winds up sounding like Christian Bale's Batman, which is awesome.
Hey, I have a new appreciation for American Psycho. I hated that movie. I love the novel, but I hated that movie, and I saw it recently, and I thought it was really strong.
Hey, that's what I'm doing next season, Joe, because you did Cormac McCarthy. I want to bring Bret Easton Ellis into the mix.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I'm screaming?
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter, Thomas Detloff.
And know what I'm screaming? What the fuck was that?
Oh, man.
Was that your new catchphrase?
Dude, I've been saying that for like 20 years, dude.
You know what I'm screaming?
Put the last nail in the coffin, Tom.
Follow
do it.
me on Twitter, Thomas Detloff at Cutting Room Show. You could also check out Joe's film work at ChristianaProductions.com and Max's Bowler Hat Productions and his Mimosa podcast show, MaxCookandTheCounselor.com. And the original music you heard tonight was done by Sonoprint. You can check out their work at Sonoprint.com. Our next episode will be out on Thursday, November 14th, and our theme will be gangster movies. We will review the 1991 Barry Levinson film Bugsy, starring Warren Beatty, the 2008 Italian film Gomorrah, and the 2012 film Stand Up Guys, starring Al Pacino, Alan Arkin, and Christopher Walken.
Am I on that show?
Yes, you're doing Bugsy, you idiot.
Oh my god! The pro!
Until then, we are over and we are out. Ciao.